the first home game for the Yankees, a pair of NFL draft picks, and a 4-game sweep of the 25th NBA championship. All that and more on this day in sports history.
Sportsified.
First up, the world of baseball. On this day in 1887, the Phillies beat the Giants 19-10 in the first game played at Broughton-Huntington Stadium, or the Baker Bowl, in Philadelphia. Second up, in 1903, the New York Highlanders, or the Yankees now, played their first home game and beat the Washington Senators 6-2. In 1910, Cleveland Indian Addie Joss won second no-hitter, beating the White Sox. In 1919, the Phillies beat the Dodgers 9-0 in 20 innings. In 1939, Lou Gehrig set an MLB record by playing his 2,000th, 130th consecutive and final game for the New York Yankees. In 1958, Ted Williams became the 10th player in MLB history to get 1,000 extra base hits. In 1961, Giant Willie Mays hit 4 homers in a single game. In 1968, 3 Oriole pitchers walked 14 Yankees in a 9-inning game. In 1970, Cubs player Billy Williams became the first National League player to play in 1,000 consecutive games. In 1982, the Atlanta Braves won 12 straight games at the beginning of the season. In 1988, the Orioles ended their 21-game losing streak by beating the White Sox. In 1997, the Braves won a record 19 games in April. Well, that's all the baseball news for today, so let's get going with football. First up, in 1921, the American Professional Football Association reorganized in Akron. Also in 1921, the 1920 APFA champions, the undefeated Akron Pros, were awarded their inaugural championship title. Now, in 1985, Virginia Tech defensive end Bruce Smith became the first pick in the NFL draft. His team? The Buffalo Bills. And finally, in football news, we have the 2015 NFL draft, where Florida State quarterback Jameis Winston was the first overall pick by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He is still active in the NFL today and is currently with the New Orleans Saints. Now, for our only piece of basketball news today, we have the 25th NBA championship, which occurred in 1971, where Milwaukee beat Baltimore in 4 games. Now, for some famous sports figures born on this day. I apologize in advance if I mispronounce any of these names on this list, or if I already mispronounced somebody's name today already. Now, first up, in 1862, Hall of Fame umpire Jack Sheridan. In 1949, baseball player and eventual manager Phil Garner. In 1961, future NBA playoff MVP Isaiah Thomas. In 1964, infielder Jeff Ribelet. In 1966, defensive end Andre Bruce. Also in 1966, running back David Meggett. In 1971, pitcher Ryan Hoblitzel. Also in 1971, we have Ty Hollick, fullback. In 1972, wide receiver Kendrick Bullard. In 1974, defensive end Cedric Jones. Also in 1974, running back Chris Darkins. And finally, in 1983, wide receiver Troy Williamson. And that concludes this day in history. Thank you for listening to Sportsified, and check out our website at sportsifiednews.wixsite.com/home.